Well, because this case has ended with guilty plea rather than with a court judgment, there are 2 points around the First Amendment issue that I think need to be emphasized. One is, as a matter of legal determination, the relationship between the First Amendment or freedom of expression and the Espionage Act remains undetermined. The US government maintains that there is no First Amendment exemption or exception under the Act. Um, the court noted, rather than I think accepted or agreed, that Assange believed that there should be such an exception. So, from a legal or judicial point of view, this is not a precedent. However, as Assange's lawyers noted outside, this is a practice precedent. The Department of Justice can now point to this prosecution and say, we have prosecuted publishers of information under the Espionage Act and secured a conviction.
Which sets his US lawyer described it as a chilling precedent, Holly.
Yes, that is potentially a chilling precedent. One of the main concerns of journalists worldwide was that this case could act as a precedent for prosecution of journalists. And as I said, legally there continues to be ambiguity about that issue. And from a matter of American criminal justice practice, you now do have a precedent, and journalists and their employers, their publishers, are going to have to think very carefully about whether they want to take chances with this, including journalists operating outside the United States.
So what does this criminal conviction, mean for Julian Assange's ability to travel and work in the future, as it seems he's going to pick up the reins of WikiLeaks?
Well, he now has a criminal record, unless and until he is pardoned. That would expunge the record. So he has a criminal record, and that will have the usual implications. It would mean that he wouldn't be able to hold down certain types of jobs in Australia, that he would fail some forms of vetting. I don't think that's probably a practical concern for him, given the types of employment and work that he is likely to pursue. It's more likely to be an issue with traveling. Obviously, it will be an issue with traveling to the United States, but the mere existence of a criminal record and the fact that it's a felony, the information I was reading yesterday was that the guilty plea would be to a misdemeanor offense, a lower level offense. What I've read this morning is that it's a Category C felony, which is a little bit higher in the level of seriousness, and therefore other countries may be reluctant to issue a visa for Assange to travel there. It's also worth remembering that he continues to have a conviction for bail absconding in the UK, although that was a 1-year sentence for a criminal justice offense rather than a national security offense.
Okay, there's lots to talk about, but let's focus on a point that you touched on earlier, Holly, the possibility of a pardon by the US president. Is that at all likely before the election? And how do the presidential candidates feel about taking that action?
Well, from what I've read, Donald Trump has on occasion said he would be inclined to pardon Assange. However, I remember there being some discussion about whether then President Trump would pardon Assange in his final days in office in early 2021, and that didn't eventuate. So I think that's a matter of pure speculation. As for President Biden, again, I can only speculate, but it's worth remembering that President Biden was vice president under Barack Obama, at which time the US government view was that it was inappropriate to prosecute Assange for espionage as it engaged First Amendment issues. So that might be a factor in his thinking.
Okay. And just finally, can Julian Assange appeal this conviction once he's back in Australia? Would that violate the terms of the plea deal or just not be allowed by the legal process?
Well, from what I've seen in the proceedings this morning, he has accepted that he has no right of appeal.
Okay, that answers that. Holly Cullen, thank you so much for giving us your expertise. Thank you.
You're welcome.